Hey everybody, thanks for joining me again. I'm Marie and you're at A Place to Heal. And I promised you guys repeatedly that I was going to do a thyroid test video so that you guys can test your thyroid at home. And I highly suggest testing your thyroid at home because the chances of you finding out that you have a thyroid problem through your regular doctor is going to be very hard, because thyroid tests aren't as accurate as doctors would like to have you believe. They're almost like adrenal tests. You know, one day you can go in and you don't have an adrenal problem and your adrenals are fine, and the next day you can go in and you have Addison's and oh my God, you're dying. So it's the same with thyroid. You know, after I got out of the hospital, I knew something wasn't right. I mean, I was choking on literally everything. Anything that I put into my mouth, I was choking on. Whether it was pills that I was taking or sometimes even water, I found myself having to like put my head forward and then arch up in order to get my throat to open enough so that I could swallow. And I just knew something wasn't right. I got to the point where I was so scared to eat that I was afraid I was going to choke on my food. So I knew something was not right. My gut kept telling me something wasn't right, and my doctor sent me in to be tested for thyroid problems. And a week later I went back and he looked at the paperwork and he says, well, I don't know why you're here because all these tests are perfect. You know, you tested within normal range. And I still knew that something was not right, and I started doing my research, and that's when I came across these tests. And when I did these tests, I failed miserably. And the thyroid tests are just not accurate enough. And as someone stated in a comment in one of my earlier videos, there's thousands of people out there walking around that have no clue that they have a thyroid problem. And the reason that they do not realize that they have a thyroid problem is because sometimes the symptoms, I don't know, they're so commonplace, so everyday kind of symptoms that you, 9 out of 10, you don't notice them, you know, and they come on. It's not something like, oh, you know, I just caught a cold. You know, it's something that comes on very gradually, and before you know it, you have problems. Another thing to look at is that, you know, a lot of people, they go to the dentist, they get x-rays. You know, they go to the doctor, they get x-rays, they get CT scans, they get MRIs. They have digestive tests where they're shot up with dyes, you know, or the food that they're given have radioactive, you know, it's radioactive food, you know, so, and all this stuff takes a toll on your thyroid. It just does, you know. So what finally led me to check into my thyroid was, I know that some of you that have been following me for a while know that the passion that I have besides health is music. And I was asked to sing at a gathering with another young lady, and when I got up on stage and I was singing, I kept feeling a weird vibration in my throat, and it literally felt the whole time I was singing like somebody had a nail file or, you know, something really raspy just going up and down in my throat. And it was just, every time I would hit certain notes, I would get that vibration in my throat, and it scared me so much that I would never be able to sing again, because I've been singing since I was literally like 6 years old, that I decided to start doing research into my thyroid, or to figure out what was going on. So if you have gone to the dentist, if you've had x-rays or MRIs or CT scans or anything like that, I can pretty much assure you that you have some sort of thyroid issue going on, you know, or it's not running up to par. When I was in the hospital, I had to have surgery done, and at that point, it's not like I could argue with them and tell them, you know, I really don't want this done, or this isn't a good thing for me, because it was either do or die. You know, I mean, basically that's what I was told. Either you have this done or you're going to die. So I didn't have a choice. But I was repeatedly told, and this is why I'm telling you guys this, is because I don't want you to believe this. I mean, they will constantly tell you, oh, it's okay, you know, that to have the x-rays done. Oh, the MRIs don't cause any harm. The CT scans, you know, are perfectly safe. You know, the mammograms are okay. You know, it's not true. I mean, this all puts radiation into your body, and it messes with your thyroid. And when I went into my surgery, I had to have a tube inserted, and they actually put me into an MRI machine, and as they were inserting this tube, the MRI would take a picture, and they would insert it and take another picture. So literally, I got tons of radiation. I know that my thyroid wasn't so great to begin with, but there was a lot of damage that incurred at the hospital. But you know, when you're dying, you just can't say no. Also, you know, you also have to understand that the thyroid works on iodine. So, you know, years ago, if you remember, you know, our grandmothers, our great-grandmothers, I mean, they used iodine for everything. If you got a cut, they put iodine. If, you know, if you got a scrape, they used iodine. Well, we don't use iodine anymore, so we're not taking iodine into our bodies and helping out our thyroid. And salt, you know, they have iodized salt, but that salt is so deadly and so toxic that it is not the salt to replace your iodine with. We don't, I mean, you would have to consume half of a Morton's salt thing in order to get enough iodine into your body to replenish your thyroid. So I want to show you how to do some thyroid tests today at home to find out what's going on with your thyroid and if it's behaving properly, and if that depression that you're having is being caused by a low active thyroid gland, and if you being so tired is being caused by an overactive thyroid gland, or the problems that you're having swallowing are part of the thyroid gland. One of the first things that you can do is just simply look in the mirror. When I became aware of thyroid and I started looking in the mirror, I noticed that this side of my neck was more swollen than this side, and I had lines growing across where it was actually bunching, and I knew that's because the thyroid is swollen on one side. And I also put my hair over my neck a lot because I do have it swollen on the sides too, where it's just swelling this whole side. So you want to take a look in the mirror, and that is one of the first indications, because you'll notice it's like a little butterfly right here in your throat, and you'll notice that certain parts of your throat will be really swollen. I look at TV now, and I'll look at people and go, whoa, thyroid issues right there, because you can see it. You know, you can see the where the throat is really swollen. Actually, I can even feel it right here where it's really swollen. So you know, and a thyroid is not something that you can take care of overnight. You know, just hunker down and settle in, and you know, take your time, because I'm telling you, it's just not something that you can work on overnight. I've been working on mine for about eight months now. It's definitely gotten like 70% better, but you know, you still have to work on it because I had a lot of damage done to mine. So that's one of the things. Another thing that you can tell if you have a thyroid issue is to look at your eyebrows. Okay, if your eyebrows, most people, your eyebrows, let me see if I can do this. Okay, so your eyebrows should go from here to there, okay, and it should go from here to there, okay, that should be your eyebrow. If you notice that one eyebrow goes all the way down, but the other eyebrow stops halfway or midway, that is a pretty good indication of thyroid issues, and you can also, it's also telling you which side of your thyroid you're having issues on. So if your eyebrow does not, like, it only goes halfway, or not, it doesn't go all the way down like it's supposed to, you know that that's the side that you're having thyroid issues on. That is not a 100% guaranteed, but it's about 90% accurate. Most of the time I've noticed I can sit there across the chair from a client and I can go, yeah, thyroid issues right there. Okay, so the next thing that I do is I have every single one of my clients, before we even begin, do basal temperature. And it's very easy to do this test. The only thing is that you do have to have time in the mornings. So if you have to do it and you have to go to work, just make sure to set the alarm about half an hour before, so that you can get this test done. Okay, and usually what I do is I just give my clients this little sheet of paper, and it actually has like, it just says date, 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 date. It has for 5 days. So what you're going to do is you're going to take your basal temperature 5 days in a row. And I'm just going to go ahead and read this to you because it's a lot easier than trying to explain it. So what you're going to do is the night before you go to bed, you're going to shake down, and usually it's a mercury thermometer, but you know what? You're very hard pressed to find mercury thermometers anymore. So this is the closest you're going to get. Do not use these that beep, you put them under the tongue. This will not work. It has to be a glass one, and they're very cheap. You can pick them up for like $3. Nobody wants these anymore, but this is the best way to tell. Okay, so the night before when you get ready to go to bed, shake it down, and the way to shake it down is you're just going to sit there and you're just going to snap it. Okay, you can also stick it in some really cold water. That'll take it down, but you still want to shake that. And then you want to check it and make sure that the little line is way down. Like this one is now 94. So that's where you want it. And then what you want to do is you want to put it right beside your bed before you go to bed. So in the morning when you wake up, you cannot get up out of bed. You have to take the temperature while you're still lying in bed and before your feet ever hit the floor. You want to do this because you've been laying down all night, and that blood has been laying down all night. The minute that you become vertical, it's no good anymore. Okay, so you cannot, like, oh, I'm going to go to the bathroom and then I'll come back and do it. That's not going to work. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to take it and you're actually going to put it underneath your armpit like the olden days, and you're going to hold your arm down and just keep it there, and you need to keep it there for 10 minutes by the clock. I mean, you have to sit there and do not get out of bed. So after 10 minutes, you're going to take the thermometer out, you're going to read what it says, and you're going to write it down on your sheet. And you're going to do this for 5 mornings in a row. Okay, so after the 5 mornings, you're going to get an average temperature. Okay, and that temperature should be between 97.5 and 98.2. The lower you are from 97.5, the worse that your thyroid is. You should stay within those numbers. Okay, and that's your basal temperature, and you just get an average. Okay, so mine was like 95.2. That was my average, and that was just horrible because you should not be dropping below 97.5. Okay, so that's called basal temperature, and you can actually Google it. It's BASAL. Okay, that's how to take your basal temperature. Just Google it and it'll actually explain how to do all this. Like I said, every single person I deal with has to do this, male or female, because just because you're a male and you think that you don't have a problem, not so. You're still getting x-rays, you're still getting CT scans, you're still getting all this stuff, so you're not immune. And I have met a lot of males that have problems swallowing. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to test, or another way to test your thyroid, is with iodine. Okay, and this is just regular medicinal iodine like your great grandmother or your grandmother used to use on your scrapes and cuts. And iodine is yellow. Now, the iodine company, for some reason, recently has started making iodine that's clear. Clear iodine will not work. You need the stuff that stains. And I'll show you here in a minute why. Okay, so you're going to get this stuff, and a lot of places you actually have to ask for it, because they have now started hiding this stuff and putting it behind glass and whatever, because people actually use it to get high on, because it sends iodine to your thyroid and it gives you this burst of energy, and you know, you feel like woo. And so they're using it for drugs now as a drug base. So I actually had to ask my pharmacist for this, and they actually had to pull it out of the back. Okay, so what you're going to do is, it comes with a little dropper thingy like that. And then you're going to take the inside of your wrist, and you're going to do a tiny circle. And as you can see, it actually stains the skin. Okay? And that's about the size of the circle that you want to make, just a little bit smaller than a dime. Okay? And you're going to record and write down what time you did this stain. And then you're going to watch it. Okay? If this stain disappears before 7 hours, you are severely iodine deficient, and your thyroid is suffering. If this stain lasts up to 12 hours, you are moderately severe, and your thyroid still needs some help. If the stain lasts between 14 and 24 hours, you're fine, and your thyroid is hunky-dory, and you do not need to worry about thyroid issues. But like I said, the average American is not giving the thyroid what it needs. It's not getting the minerals, the iodine that it needs from food. It's not getting the iodine that it needs from medicine. It's not getting the iodine that it needs from salt. So we are becoming very iodine deficient. And because of everything that they have been doing to our oceans and everything that they have been doing to our soils, you know, we have just literally depleted the minerals out of our oceans and out of our soil. So if you do happen to come up very deficient in your thyroid, there is a few things that you can do. Number one, you can start incorporating kelp into your diet. You can just go out and get kelp supplements. Try to get really good quality kelp supplements from like a health food store. You know, ask your health store provider what is a good, what they recommend would be a good source of calcium, or order it from a very reputable dealer that where you know it's 100% kelp. Another thing that you can do is eat seaweed. And seaweed kind of kills two birds with one stone, because not only will it help your thyroid, but it'll help that salt craving from your adrenals. So you can actually take care of your adrenals and your thyroid at the same time. You just want to make sure that there's no soybean oil in your seaweed, because there is, they do have this great crunchy seaweed that I just love, and it comes in little sheets, but some of them do have soybean oil in it, and you do not want soybean oil in your seaweed because you're trying to make your body healthy. The next thing that you can do is that you can start replenishing your iodine with iodine. So what you do is you check to see how soon it goes away. And if you are very deficient, what you want to do is you want to put the following day, put another spot on there. See how long that one lasts. The day after that, put another spot. If it's still, let's say it only lasts 5 hours. So on the third day, you're going to do 2 drops. And hopefully it'll last 8 hours. And you want to keep adding 2 drops and until you get up to that 14 to 24 hour period. Once you're up to 14, 15 hours, you know that you're good. So you just do that once a day. Do not do iodine therapy after 4 p.m. because, like I said, this does give you a rush of energy because it sends iodine to your thyroid. It gives you that rush of energy. So after 4 p.m., you're going to be like this. If you do this at 8 o'clock at night, I guarantee you ain't getting to sleep till 3 o'clock in the morning. So, I mean, unless you're going to go out and party, hey, you know, then go by all means. But you shouldn't be partying if you're eating healthy. So, and alcohol is horrible for you, by the way. I know, I'm a buzzkill, you know, but hey. I had a friend recently that told me, you know, well, no good stories start out with, I had this salad. But let me tell you, every person that I have ever worked with started their story with, well, I started drinking beer, or, you know, or I was doing drugs, or, you know, so no good stories end well when it starts off with alcohol or, you know, or drugs. So, you know, it just depends on how much you love yourself, how much you want to better your body, and, you know, if you want to live to be 80, 90. You know, I have a lot of 20 and between 20 and 25-year-old, I call them kids because they're kids to me, because they're the age of my children. They'll sit there and tell me, oh, I don't care, I'll have a hamburger, oh, it doesn't matter, I'm not going to do that, you know, because, you know, at 20, you think you're going to live forever. But what I'm finding now is that when I start dealing with people that are in their mid-50s to early 60s, what I'm constantly hearing over and over and over again, it's like, I'm getting ready to retire soon, but I'm too sick to do anything. This is horrible. You know, I have saved my money. I wanted to go on vacations. I wanted to do these things. I wanted to check out these, you know, I wanted to go see the Grand Canyon. I wanted to go visit New York City, and I can't because I can't even get up off my couch because my knees hurt so bad or my legs are so swollen. So you know what? I mean, you at some time in your life, you need to decide what's more important for you. You know, having that beer or being able to get up in the morning and, you know, do what you want to do. As far as I'm concerned, I'd rather get up in the morning and go walking around the block and, you know, I feel great as opposed to, you know, being hungover and having the joint pain and everything else. Because both drugs and alcohol are very acidic to the body. All right, so that is how you can test your thyroid and how you can help your thyroid. And as you go helping your thyroid with the kelp, with the seaweed, you know, and everything else, you can actually go checking it. You know, do it for 3 months. Supplement your thyroid, and after 3 months, do the basal temperatures once again, and check to see if those have gotten better. And then, you know, supplement again. Then, you know, I wouldn't test any sooner than 3 months because it's going to be a waste of time. Like I said, your thyroid is very slow going. And as I've said before in these videos, you cannot just fix the thyroid and be done with it. You know, you have to get other organs working. You have to focus on your liver. You have to get your liver functioning well. Watch my liver video. I have a lot of liver videos. I'm a huge liver advocate, as are a lot of doctors, because they know that the liver will take you down if the liver is too toxic. You know, you have to work on your kidneys. You have to work on your adrenals. You have to change your diet. I know everyone wants the magic pill. Just give me the pill. Things will be great, you know, and It does not work that way. You have to give up certain things in life if you want the benefit of being healthy. That's just all there is to it. We were never meant to consume the foods that we are consuming today. We were never meant to eat fast food. Ever since fast food restaurants came into the picture, ever since microwaves came into the picture, ever since TV dinners came into the picture, Monsanto, genetically modified foods, you know, all this stuff, ever since all this stuff started coming into the picture, our health has just literally just taken a nosedive. And people are just not making that connection. They keep saying, well, why are we getting sicker? Why am I feeling sick? Make the connection. Please make the connection. The food that you are putting into your body is poisoning you. You are an electric being. Every cell in your body is electrical. They have proven this. You know, when surgeries have been done on the pineal gland, they actually have gotten a spark off of it. I mean, we are electrical light beings. You need to put live foods into your body for your body to be alive. If you keep feeding your body dead foods, dead carcasses, dead stuff out of packages, dead stuff out of bags, you are not headed down a good path. Please make that connection. And until we meet again, please stay happy, stay healthy. Check your thyroid. Thermometer, $3. Iodine, $5. For $8, you can have the test. You can do it at home, and you don't have to see a single lab coat. Till next time. Bye-bye.